You don't even have to say that. No, it's a very beautiful. I know. I left that to my aunt. Thank you. Pardon me. Not for you. I can't wait till I love you so much. I couldn't read off my phone to mom was so all that time. No, but exactly the same. How are y'all? Good. Ready to speech. Oh. Wanted to try something new and different. Hi, how are you? Can I hug you? Thank you so much for all that you're doing. Thank you for everything you've been doing. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hi.
Do you want to speak or do you want to? It's up to you.
Just what is it?
Gabby has 2 minutes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it, Rose. Thank you. Thomas?
Let her go before me.
Whatever order,
Whatever.
guys.
Okay.
No.
Okay. She's gotten in enough trouble.
I'm looking forward to you, girlfriend.
Are we ready? Yeah.
Great to see you all.
Good morning. Today is the first day of real reckoning for the Epstein class. We're here to stand with forgotten and abandoned Americans against an Epstein class that had no regard for the rules or the laws. Look, this is one of the most horrific and disgusting corruption scandals in our country's history. You had Jeffrey Epstein, who literally set up an island of rape, a rape island. And you had rich and powerful men, some of the richest people in the world, who thought that they could hang out with bankers, buy off politicians, and abuse and rape America's girls with no consequence. Because survivors spoke up, because of their courage, the truth is finally going to come out. And when it comes out, this country is really going to have a moral reckoning. How did we allow this to happen? There should be no buildings named after people in this Epstein class. There should be no scholarships named after them. They shouldn't be enjoying the perks of being affiliated with corporations or universities or writing op-eds or being lionized. And many of the survivors will tell you some of these people still are celebrated in our society. That's disgusting. There needs to be accountability. I want to recognize first and foremost the survivors. They are the ones who made today possible. Many of you had forgotten about this issue, and frankly, for decades we have not done enough about this issue, and it's only because of their advocacy, them coming here to the Capitol. They showed up here time and again, and on September 3rd, that the country started to pay attention. And I also want to thank the courage of two of my colleagues in particular. Both of them have suffered, as you know, extraordinary political consequences for what they did. One, my colleague, Congressman Thomas Massey. This would not have been possible if he hadn't led the discharge petition that got 218 signatures and is going to force a vote in the House of Representatives. And this would not have certainly been possible if it were not for the courage of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She signed the petition, and I would keep texting Thomas, is she going to drop off? Is she going to drop off? Because there was so much pressure against us, so much attacks against her. But she stood with the survivors. For Thomas or me, this has never been political. This is not about questions of Trump or Biden. This is a question of doing the right thing for survivors. We're going to get a vote today. I expect an overwhelming vote in the House of Representatives, and I don't want the DC swamp playing any games. They need to pass this in the Senate, and they should not amend it. President Trump has said he would sign the Epstein Transparency Act. It's going to get overwhelming support in the House. It should go straight to the Senate, and it should be signed. No amendments, no adding loopholes. Justice is long overdue. And I want to hand it over to my colleague, Representative Thomas Massey.
I want to start by thanking the survivors. I mean, they're giving everybody hope in this country. There are survivors of other sex crimes in this country wondering if they should come forward. They're clouded with shame and concerned that law enforcement will do nothing. And these survivors have stepped forth, taking that same risk, worried that they will be defamed themselves. They have been defamed for stepping forward. But we're going to get justice for them. That's going to happen today in the People's House. The founders set up our government with 3 branches and 2 branches of Congress. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this fight is being started and it's being won in the House of Representatives. I have people, other survivors of other sex crimes, who come to me and say, thank you. You give me hope. You give us hope. There is hope here. We fought the president, the Attorney General, the FBI Director, the Speaker of the House, and the Vice President to get this win. But they're on our side today, though. So let's give them some credit as well. They are finally on the side of justice. And as Rose said, don't muck it up in the Senate. Don't get too cute. We're all paying attention. If you want to add some additional protections for these survivors, go for it. But if you do anything that prevents any disclosure, you are not for the people and you are not part of this effort. Do not muck it up in the Senate. So with that, I just want to say I am hopeful too. I didn't know that we would succeed when Roe and I started this effort. Most discharge petitions never make it, maybe only 4%. So we had long odds. But we had some brave women on the Republican side. My colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of them who's here with us today. You cannot even imagine the consequences that they have suffered. My colleague Lauren Boebert and my colleague Nancy Mace, they stood so strong. They put their names on a document in here and then they were pressured in ways that you cannot even imagine. And they stood strong. And that's why we're here today. And they didn't take us seriously over at the executive branch or in the Senate because they always thought they could flip one of these women. They could convince them or cajole them or intimidate them into taking their names off of this petition. But they did not succeed. This is a victory for those women and women all over the country today, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. With that, I want to introduce my colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Ro. I woke up this morning and I turned to my weather app to check the temperature and it was 32 degrees. And my first thought was, hell has froze over. I want to speak goodness and love and hope into the women standing behind me and all of the other survivors whose names you don't even know, but stand with these women. They are survivors, and they are strong, and they are courageous, and they are daughters of God. They are not victims. These women have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight, and they did it by banding together and never giving up. And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the fight, the real fight, will happen after that. While I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation, which is something I've had a small taste of in just the past few days, just a small taste. They've been living it for years. But the real test will be, will the Department of Justice release the files? Or will it all remain tied up in investigations? Will the CIA release the files? Will a judge in New York release the information? That's information that needs to come out. And will the list of names that these women privately hold, and they hold it because of their fear in their heart of what would happen to them if they release it on their own, will that list of names come out? That's the real test. So I want to thank Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna for your bravery in doing something that is much needed in America, crossing the political aisle that has become bigger than the Grand Canyon in America. But these men crossed that aisle on behalf of these women. And that is more of what is needed today in America than ever in our history. So thank you so much. Who's next? Ro, I'll let you introduce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marjorie, Representative Green, for your courage and your words. Before I introduce our survivors, I just want to say that they will make their statements, and then you can ask questions of Representative Massie, myself, or Representative Green, but we do not want people asking questions and cross-examining the survivors. They're here to tell their stories, and they should be heard by the American people with respect. Of course, Congressman Massie, myself, and Congresswoman Green would be happy to answer questions after that. With that, let me introduce the survivor who's helped organize a lot of this, and will be telling her own story and introducing the other survivors. Haley Robson, thank you for your courage and leadership.
Absolutely, thank you. Oh, good morning. It's a little chilly coming from Florida, not used to it. I want everybody to take a look. I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning. This is who you're fighting for. This is who Congress is fighting for. This is who the House of Representatives are fighting for, and hopefully the Senate will fight for us too. I want to kick this off right, and I want to address Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and Ro Khanna. I want to express my gratitude for all three of you, and I know, Ro Khanna, we spoke earlier. This is an incredible thing that I'm watching as a Republican, and this is non-political, but for you to go against your own party and to be ostracized, there's no place for political violence, there's no place for intimidation, and I can say firsthand, stepping out against Epstein and his crimes against children, we have all experienced that ourselves. So for you to knowingly put yourselves at risk and put your career at risk is unbelievable to watch, and we are so grateful. I also want to make a proposition for Marjorie Taylor Greene, because you've been an advocate for this. If you decide to read those names on the House floor for immunity, I will be more than happy, no security needed. I will stand beside you. I will hold your hand. I will hold your coat in solidarity with you. And on top of that, I did talk to Jayapal, who said she would be more than happy to read those names too on the floor with all of us. It's time that we put the political agendas and party affiliations to the side. This is a human issue. This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes, or exploitation of women in society. There's no room for it, guys. We're not having it. And to the President of the United States of America, who is not here today, I want to send a clear message to you. While I do understand that your position has changed on the Epstein files, and I'm grateful that you have pledged to sign this bill, I can't help to be skeptical of what the agenda is. So with that being said, I want to relay this message to you. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. You have put us through so much stress, the lockdowns, the halt of these procedures that were supposed to have happened 50 days ago. The Adelita Grijalva who waited to get sworn in and then get upset when your own party goes against you because what is being done is wrong. It's not right. For your own self-serving purposes, this is America. This is land of the free. Land of the free. In 1863, we have a woman on top of the Capitol building represent freedom. I do not feel free today. I don't know if the women behind me feel free today. So I am begging every member of Congress, every representative to step up and choose the chaos. Choose the survivors. Choose the children. Protect the children. All children. You protect all of us equally. Thank you very much for your time. Following that, Lisa Phillips will be the next survivor.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Phillips. It's an honor to stand here again for something America is finally united on: the immediate release of the entire Epstein files. In a divided nation, this is one demand we all share. Last time I stood here, I made a promise to all survivors watching. If those in power refused to release the truth, we would start uncovering it ourselves. For anyone who doubted that, that moment has already arrived. Since that day, more survivors across the country and around the world have reached out. Text, emails, DMs, firsthand accounts, and evidence. Many are women who were abused or trafficked through the international modeling pipeline Epstein built, promising visas, apartments, opportunities, futures, while exploiting their dreams for abuse. Most are still terrified to speak publicly because the men involved are powerful. They're connected, and as we know, they're protected. For too long, survivors have watched others speak for us. And while we are grateful for our allies in Congress on both sides, we've realized something. This fight belongs to us. We lived it, and we know the truth. And we will not wait quietly for institutions to decide when we're allowed to speak. The survivors now coming forward have entrusted us with their stories. We are sharing that information with the proper authorities, and when it can safely be made public, it will be. So today, we are launching something historic. The first national, survivor-led political movement in America. Nonpartisan, laser-focused on exposing the systems, the loopholes, power structures, and silencing mechanisms that have protected predators for far too long. We are stepping directly into the halls of power, into the political arena. We will help rewrite laws that failed us and build protections for our nation's children together, targeted by sexual exploitation. Together, today, survivors begin our own fight, the survivor revolution. And we intend to change this nation for the better. If you're a survivor who wants to join us, please reach out. And to anyone who benefits from the current system, intentionally or not, remember this. Alone, yes, we are afraid. But together, we are feared. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am Jenna Lisa Jones, and just as Haley, I would just like to give a little reminder that this was me at 14 years old. I was a child. I was in 9th grade. I was hopeful for life and what the future had held for me. He stole a lot from me at 14. So just a little reminder there for everybody. Sorry. So, I just want to start out by saying thank you for all of you for being here today. I want to start by expressing my deepest gratitude to the members of Congress who have stood with us, the survivors, in demanding the transparency and justice. Your support is a signal that this institution can still serve the American people. This issue was never one that should have divided us the way it has. In fact, it should have united us. Sexual abuse is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First, the administration said it would release everything and applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class, show some real leadership, show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing but was too much of a coward to do anything about it. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were able to recruit and abuse young girls and women. Then the country will learn nothing, and has horrible history will repeat itself if we do not do something about this. Thank you to the brave congressmen and women who have stood by us and recognized our side is the American side, and we should all be proud once again to be Americans. I want to just extend my thank you so much to all three of you, very, very much. The first time we were here, listening to the, people yell shame at you, and when she was here in support of us, really hit home and spoke some volumes, and I just very much appreciative of your support, and we stand by you. Don't let any of them bully you. We're here for you. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming together today and taking the time to listen to us. Your presence means the world, and it shows commitment to understanding and supporting survivors and Americans. I stand before you today with a heavy heart. I originated from Brazil, and I came to the United States when I was 8 years old. I was only 14 when I first encountered Jeffrey Epstein, and my daughter is now almost at that age. At 14, the only things she should be concerned with are going to school, practicing at her cheerleading competitions, and enjoying her time with her friends and family. She should not have to bear the burden of worrying about being manipulated or exploited. At this age, she is still a child, and no child should ever have to face such threats. I also want to address a troubling statement made by a prominent figure on a major platform who suggested that a 14-year-old should not be considered a victim of pedophilia. This is a dangerous and incorrect notion. When we talk about how children at 14 should still be treated as children, I ask you to look at the young people around you. Remember when you were that age? Do you think you should have been responsible for being groomed? Put yourselves in our position when we were young. I'm here today not to just share my story, but to call on all of you to help make a difference. We need to support to push for the Transparency Act and release the Epstein files. Please reach out to your Congress members and senators and urge them to support this crucial legislation. The truth is something that we all deserve, and it is vital for safety and protection of the future of generations. Think about all the young people in your life, your daughters, your nieces, your friends. Let's stand together and ensure that they grow up in a world where they are safe and valued. I often wondered, why did this happen to me? And then I realized, God only gives you what you can handle. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to make a difference today. So, let's stand together to protect our children and our peace. Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning. I want to say a few things before I begin. My speech may not be great. It was thrown together last minute as I only came here, decided Friday, when one of us, who has spoken several times, decided she couldn't come because of the threats. She was too scared. So I want to say, when you threaten one of us, you're threatening all of us.
Yep.
We are together now, and that's never going to change. This is me at 16 when I met Jeffrey Epstein. Now I'll start. It is an honor to stand here before the American people. However, I shouldn't have to stand here at all. I'm here because as a child, I was pulled into Jeffrey Epstein's world, a world built on exploitation and manipulation of innocence and the protection of powerful men and women who believed that they were untouchable. Today, we'd rather be preparing for the holidays. We'd rather be at home with our families, baking with our children and decorating the Christmas tree as we try to move past this horrific moment that has impacted our entire adult lives. However, that's not possible because it's become something it should have never been, political and sensationalized. The truth is simple. We were victimized as children and failed repeatedly by the very system that was supposed to protect us. That's why we stand here today, to demand justice and accountability, not just for Epstein and his crimes, but for every predator and every enabler who participates in or protects abusers. The Epstein case was gravely mishandled consistently and deliberately over many years. Epstein could have been stopped decades ago, but instead he was able to continue his abuse, even during his sweetheart deal, yes, with his ankle monitor on and beyond. A deal that protected him and silenced us. While I was a child fighting to survive what happened to us, federal prosecutors were negotiating ways to shield powerful adults. And the failures didn't stop there. Our civil cases were met with hostile judges and delay tactics, intimidation, and PR campaigns designed to smear us in the public eye. We were treated as problems to be managed instead of victims to be protected. Today, something has changed. Individually, our voices were whispers. Together, they've become impossible to ignore. We are encouraged to see elected officials from both parties, thank you, come together and finally take action to release the files. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Good job.
Good morning. My name is Wendy, and I'm standing here today with a truth that still scares me to say out loud. I'm gonna put this down because I can't hold both, as you guys saw. But that was me when I was 14, when I met Jeffrey Epstein. None of us here signed up for this political warfare. We never asked to be dragged into battles between people who never protected us in the first place. We are exhausted from surviving the trauma and then surviving the politics that swirl around it. When survivors travel to speak, to advocate, to stand for the truth, we do it with our own money, from our own pockets, carrying our own fear shaking in our own bodies. There is no team. There is no paycheck. It's just us hoping our voices make a difference. And it puts a pit right in your stomach because you know you're standing on the right side of history.
Yes.
But standing on the right side of history is not a comfortable place to be.
Yep.
It never has been. And in a sick, heartbreaking way, it's an honor to show up, an honor to speak here, and an honor to stand in light when the world tried to keep us in the dark. And what keeps me standing is, even with all this fear, I have a 14-year-old daughter myself, the same age I was. And when I look at her, I see the little girl I used to be, the one that no one protected. My greatest fear in this entire world is history repeating itself. And I will do anything, absolutely anything, to make sure that she has to never be one of these girls standing in front of a crowd like this today in her life. So today, from the safest and bravest places inside myself, I am asking Congress, please pass the bill. Please release the records. Stop making survivors fight alone for the truth that should have protected us in the first place. To the representatives that support us, thank you. Thank you for standing beside survivors so we don't have to face this fear alone. Thank you for choosing what is right over what is easy. And every survivor who is scared right now, your fear is real. Your courage is real, and even though we're terrified, we keep showing up. Because someone has to tell the truth. Someone has to protect these children. We deserve safety then, we deserve it now. And we are done being afraid so others can stay comfortable. So with that, I want to say thank you guys for having us. And I just hope that people can remember that as survivors, our story never leaves us, but the choice that you make to pass this bill, your career is in front of you. And that choice will follow you. Everybody will know. So, yes. Thank you.
Good job.
Well said, Cindy.
You're incredible.
Hello, everybody. My name is Danny Bensky. This was me at 17 years old. Oh, I'm sorry. Coming from the dance world, I was recruited in 2004 after a systematic breaking down where Epstein leveraged my mother's brain tumor scans. He threatened me to withhold care for her. He trapped me in a year-long cycle of abuse. The last time I was here in Washington, D.C., I talked about being a part of this beautiful mosaic of women behind me, and they are exactly that. They are a beautiful mosaic of energy and passion and love and life. I am one story of 1,000. Think of that number, 1,000. I spoke of how big our hopes and dreams once were, and I talked about how they were completely shattered at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I look at this amazing community behind me. They are survivor sisters. We are together. We stand together in this. And I realize that we are a representation of women across America. We come from different backgrounds. We have different religions. We are different races, different creeds, different ethnicities. We have different political affiliations. Some of us don't want to be political at all. And yet we stand here together for this cause. We're united in the call for transparency, complete transparency, to find justice. Justice for our younger selves. These pictures that you see, they're real people. I wish I could go back and give my former self a hug and say, this matters and it's going to change, and mean it. We are standing here for justice for the youth of tomorrow, and justice for those who are no longer with us, like the beautiful, brave Virginia Giuffre. We understand that the road is long, but I implore you to stay the course, please. Living in an age where you can get news in 10-second clips on your phone, I know that this is a big task for us, but it's a very personal one for survivors. It's a very personal one for us as a country. So I'd like to ask you to try something right now. I'd like everybody to close their eyes or soften their gaze just for a moment. And I want everybody to think of a child that is close to them between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. It could be your daughter, it could be your niece, it could be a friend's kids, it could be you at a former age, it could be your mother at that age. But really envision that for a second, 14 to 18 years old. Once you think of that person, I want you to think about what they feel like. What is their energy? What do they smell like? What sound do they make when they laugh? Really think about that child just for a moment. Now I want you to picture a pair of giant looming wooden doors and an overbearing marble landing. Those are the doors to Jeffrey Epstein's house. Do you allow that child to enter or not? If the answer is yes, you would allow entrance. You stand with predators. If the answer is no, then congratulations, you're on the right side of justice. Now you have homework. I am calling for the American people. You have homework. Call your congressional leaders. Call your senators. Please support this bill. Let's get it all released. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Annie Farmer, and this is a photo of me and my sister Maria Farmer. Around the time I was 16 and she was 25. That's how old we were when we were abused by Epstein and Maxwell. Survivors have repeatedly stated that our pursuit of transparency and justice is a nonpartisan issue. But given the political noise surrounding this case, I just want to remind people of some of the facts. In 1996, when my sister Maria bravely blew the whistle on this group by reporting to the FBI what Epstein and Maxwell did to both of us, they hung up on the phone on her and there was no follow-up of any kind. Bill Clinton was president. In 2006, the FBI came to us, finally interviewed us, and asked us both to be witnesses against Epstein. We were very anxious, but we agreed. And then we didn't hear back from them due to their infamous sweetheart deal. George W. Bush was president. In 2015, when the DOJ was sent FOIA requests for Maria's FBI files, and they were denied, as they have been many times, Barack Obama was president. In 2019, when Epstein died in prison due to either negligence or foul play, Donald Trump was president. In 2023, Maria's attorneys sent a letter on her behalf to the government, requesting an investigation into the repeated law enforcement failures in this case, similar to what was done in the case of Larry Nassar. They declined to do so. Consequently, my sister filed notice that she would be suing the government for failing to uphold its legal, ethical, and moral duties in this case. Joe Biden was president. This year, after campaigning on a pledge to finally release the files, under Trump's second presidency, the DOJ announced they were closing the investigation into Epstein's co-conspirators, and then transferred Ghislaine Maxwell into a prison camp, where it is well documented that she is receiving special treatment. This is not an issue of a few corrupt Democrats or a few corrupt Republicans. This is a case of institutional betrayal. Because these crimes were not properly investigated, so many more girls and women were harmed. My sister, because of her bravery, was repeatedly threatened and lived in fear, with dire consequences for her health and her career. 30 years later, even as oceans of allegations and obvious truths have emerged, the government has still not chosen transparency. This is why we have all come together as one united voice to demand the release of all the Epstein files and to finally bring the truth out of the shadows.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of Congress, and everyone gathered here today, I want to start by thanking the three of you. Thank you. It takes a lot of bravery to do what you're doing. We hear you, we see you, It means a lot for you to be here with us, and I know my sister would be incredibly proud. This is the moment she was fighting for and the moment that all survivors are fighting for, so thank you. My name is Sky Roberts, and I stand before you as the brother of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, a warrior, a mother, and a sister whose legacy will forever resonate in the hearts of those who understand the fight against injustice. Today, we find ourselves in a place of deep sorrow, shattered by the loss of our beloved sister. Yet, we are honored and privileged to carry her voice forward and continue her relentless fight alongside her fellow survivor sisters. Virginia's story is one that should have been filled with promise, but instead it became a harrowing tale of exploitation and survival. At just 16 years old, she took a job at Mar-a-Lago, believing she had secured a dream summer position. But that dream quickly morphed into a nightmare when Ghislaine Maxwell preyed upon her innocence. This isn't just the story of one girl, it's a story about the insidious nature of power and abuse, a dark chapter in our society that must be told. Virginia was no stranger to trauma. In her memoir, Nobody's Girl, she shares the painful truth that she had already suffered abuse at the hands of our father and a family friend. But what happened next was unfathomable. Epstein and Maxwell didn't just abuse her, they trafficked her to a network of the rich and powerful. Princes, prime ministers, politicians, financiers, and lawyers. These men committed unspeakable acts against her will, and against the will of countless survivors who stand united with us today. Virginia's strength was tested in many ways that most of us can hardly imagine. She was manipulated, coerced, and threatened, forced into complicity in her own devastation. She often spoke of psychological scars that ran deeper than the physical ones. From the start, she wrote, "They manipulated me into participating in behaviors that ate away at me, eroding my ability to comprehend reality and preventing me from defending myself. The most destructive wound they inflicted was that of forced complicity, a betrayal of self that was crafted by her abusers. But I stand here today to declare that their tactics of fear and intimidation did not work. Virginia's spirit could not be broken. She became a beacon of hope, a warrior, fighting not just for herself, but for every survivor who suffered in silence. She said, "I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I would put my neck on the line to make sure my daughter never has to go through what I had to endure." These survivors, like Virginia, have transformed into mothers and strong women, fierce in the face of adversity. Many of them have daughters the same age they were when they faced their own abuse. They are determined to break the cycle, to shatter the silence that has kept so many in the shadows. Virginia quoted in her memoir, "There I was, as the mother of 3 children. I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I mentioned to Ellie in particular, her daughter, I would put my neck on the line to make sure she never has to go through what I had to go through. I said, joining Edward's CVRA case, what I would want somebody to do for my daughter or sister and friend. In the end, I said, I was just trying to do the right thing. That's what I felt like I'm doing," I said. "I'm making a small dent in this big world we live in." Well, Sissy, It starts with acknowledgement. That's the first step. Acknowledge in the face of survivors that this happened and that this is true. Your vote carries that weight. My sister is not a political tool for you to use. These survivors are not political tools for you to use. These are real stories, real trauma, and it's time for you to stop just talking about it and act. Vote yes.
Yeah.
Virginia's legacy is not just hers. It belongs to all of us who stand against injustice. Together, we will ensure that the voices of survivors are heard, that the truth prevails, and that the horrors of the past are never repeated. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for standing with us. Together, we will not let Virginia's fight be in vain. Together, we will not let the predators win. Together, we will be the change this world desperately needs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was so beautiful.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein in 1991. I always share the date when I talk about my story because people rarely acknowledge how long this has actually been going on. And for too long, truth has been buried, survivors have been silenced, and powerful people have been protected. And today we stand in a moment that will decide whether our government still belongs to the American people or to those who prey on them. Because when mountains of evidence and decades of victim reports across 5 administrations still lead to sweetheart deals or no prosecution at all, this isn't just one case gone wrong. It's an institutional failure on a historic scale, and every member of Congress and this administration must answer for that failure. Millions of sexual abuse survivors know the pain of speaking up and watching the institutions that are meant to protect them look away. We're not alone in this. Epstein may be the headline, but the betrayal reaches every corner of our country. And if our justice system can collapse this completely for so long, then Congress cannot pretend that the system is working. Not for us, and not for the generations that will live with the consequences of what they choose now. One long overdue step towards repairing this damage is the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Because without transparency, there's no accountability. Without accountability, there is no justice. And without justice, democracy dies.
Yes.
So representatives, you have a choice to show millions of Americans whether you stand with us or with the powerful predators that are counting on your complicity. Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Good morning. This is me. This was me. My name is Charlene Rochard, and I stand before you today not as a victim of rumor or conspiracy, but as a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. Far too long, survivors like me have been dismissed, silenced, are told that our pain was exaggerated or fabricated. Let me be clear. This is not a hoax.
Yes, it's not.
What we endured was real, and it has scarred lives across 5 presidential administrations. The truth has been buried in sealed files and hidden records for far too long. The Epstein Files Transparency Act is not just about survivors. It's about America itself. How can we keep America great if the principles the nation was founded on, that power belongs to the people, is not protected? No one, no matter how wealthy and well-connected, stands above the law. If we cannot face the truth, then we betray the very ideals that defines us as a country. By passing this act, Congress has the chance to prove that truth is denied.
Yeah.
I want to thank Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey for standing with us. Thank you. And I especially want to thank Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her unwavering support, her courage to stand with us and demand transparency gives us strength. Thank you. It shows that this fight for accountability is bigger than politics. It's about humanity, justice, and truth. This is about America's future. It's about whether we, the people, will be heard when we have the courage to stand for truth and justice. Our voices are real. Our pain is real. And our demand for justice will not be silenced. Thank you.
Amen. Yes. Girl, Charlene. Hello. Good for you, girl. You did amazing.
My name is Laura Bloom McGee. This is my first time speaking publicly about my abuse. As a young woman in New York City, I was pursuing a modeling career and building a life of giving back through my philanthropic work. Instead, I was intentionally groomed and became part of an international model sex trafficking ring that was led by Jeffrey Epstein. I was sexually and mentally abused by Jeffrey Epstein. He used my dreams and vulnerabilities to silence me. Today, I am here to break that silence. Sex trafficking and sexual abuse are crimes against human beings, not political talking points. For too long, Epstein's abuse was an open secret, with his network remained protected. Evil thrives in darkness. We must shine a light on every corner where it hides. Nothing should be off limits in the search for truth. Please vote that everything in the files be released. Let investigations proceed without obstruction. Demand oversight and deliver justice. The government must never side with predators. I come as one survivor, but I stand here for everyone who prayed for me, who believed in me, and who hoped for me. To my fellow survivors, your courage brought me here. We are more than victims. We are mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. This is not a hoax, and we will not be erased. Shame on any elected official who obstructs truth and justice for the American people.
Yes,
Thank you.
Amen. Yeah, girl.
My name is Liz Stein. In 1994, I was a senior in college, just 21 years old. I had aspirations of attending law school after graduation, and it looked like I had a bright future ahead of me. 1994 was also the year I met Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. My involvement with them changed the trajectory of my entire life. The Epstein files are not about loyalty to any one political party. They're evidence of a crime. We stand here today, victims of the crime of sex trafficking. I'm here today speaking both for my 21-year-old self and for the countless number of people who have experienced sexual violence. When I am asked what I would tell my younger self if I could say something, I say that I would tell myself to tell someone. And if they don't listen, to tell someone else. And to just keep telling until someone listens. And even if nobody listens to you, you should be proud of yourself because you stood in your uncomfortable truth when others could not. And that is true bravery. We stand here today as survivors, part of a sorority that none of us asked to join. We have told our stories over and over and over. Now it's time to see who was listening. We ask that you vote to release the files, all of them, so the victims of this crime can finally see justice. Thank you.
Amen.
Yes!
Go, girl.
Well, hello, everyone, and I want to first say thank you for your ongoing leadership. I know it must not be easy thing to do, much like it's not easy for us to be doing this, so I guess we're in this together, so thank you so much. I feel like our courage has, we're reflecting, mirroring courage, because that's what it takes to do this, right? So this was me at 22 years old. I was not a child, technically, very young adult. I imagine most of you here can relate to the mindset and to be 22 years old. So today is a good day, and I thank God for that. It's widely and undeniably clear that our current political climate is quite rigid and seemingly at war with one another. This sets a stage. This sets a stage for voices, survivor voices, to get spoken over and drowned out by the political darts whizzing by. Not today, though. Today, our truth and our power have steadily risen up. We're at the peak. Our voices prevail today. Our voices initiated the coming together of both political parties. That's pretty big, I think. Republicans and Democrats, we all stand together today. We all stand together for justice, and we must continue to do so to protect the integrity of our country and our democracy. Truth and justice must prevail. The children today are those that will lead this nation one day. Think about that. What does that mean to each of you? If anyone doubts that this does not directly contribute to the fate of our country and democracy, I challenge you and I urge you to think again. Our voices are a fundamental pillar of future generations. Today, that's what we stand here for. Accountability, action, and justice. Let's get this vote done today. Let's send it through the Senate and straight to President Trump's desk for signing. I'd like to be there that day that he signs. I'm sure all of us would like to be there. Today is a good day, and let's keep moving forward. Thank you so much.
I just want to give you a hug.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're actually pressed for time, so we are not going to be taking questions. Going further, I bring back Rokana. He's going to do our closing conversation and comments.
Well, thank you, Haley. Teresa is right. It's pretty big what the survivors have accomplished today. And I just want to say how eloquent, strong, and admirable they were. Let's give them a round of applause for their courage. Thomas and Marjorie and I will take a few questions from people.
Go
ahead.
Is basically right now calling on the Senate to make revisions to this bill because he says it doesn't adequately protect the survivors, the victims that are standing behind you. Your response to that?
That's been a red herring all along. The survivors have always been in favor of this legislation, and there's a provision in there you can read if you would just read it.
Hello,
that protects
chat.
them.
Hello,
now,
everybody.
To
so I wanted to start this coverage ultimately with, I think that poignant press conference that happened just before the House and the Senate voted on something that is considered probably, if not the worst cover-up, the most prolific cover-up in United States history. And I think that's because it relates to sex trafficking. Obviously, if you think of the Catholic Church, that's obviously an ongoing issue and one of the other bigger cover-ups when it deals with sexual deviancy, illegalities. But this one stands high because of how many people are potentially involved, people that we don't even know, how many people were silenced, and then so many people that are young that don't want to come out and talk about their trauma, about what happened to them because of the culture that we live in currently. And because Trump was a referendum for the boys club, for the locker room chat, I think it's further silenced people that were coming out during, the Me Too movement. People felt emboldened to speak their truth. And yes, in some cases, people were lying and innocent people were found guilty in those particular instances. And therefore, there needed to be some calibration. But I would rather have a society where we can speak out whenever these things happen so that they do not become pervasive and affect generations, which is what apparently has happened. If Jeffrey Epstein has been doing this since the 90s, that is a generational shift in how many people were traumatized and how many women, in his case, but this is just one individual, had to deal with that throughout their life. Some people are able to move past trauma better than others. And anytime they see an injustice, it can trigger them like PTSD. So it's a very important thing for our country to reconcile. Are we for rich people? Are we for people doing this and it being okay for them? And then say, on the other hand, that we despise this, that we want these people to be locked up forever or to get the death penalty or be removed from society because they are the scum of the earth. They are the worst kind of people. We have to get our message straight. It is now 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the deadline of the DOJ having to release these files that were or should have been released 5 years ago, 4 years ago, under Biden, under the previous administration of Trump. And specifically, when Trump took president in January, where he ran a campaign saying that he would release those. And again, I go back to, sure, you have to redact the files. You have to protect the victims, even though I do think that that is also a tactic to protect individuals as well. I actually had a conspiracy theory that a victim in this case may actually be Donald Trump that they're trying to protect. And that's me being generous outside of the potential documents that were shredded or misplaced or lost. Whether or not we actually get these files today, how relevant they are, how redacted they are, I'm sure it's not going to answer all the questions. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of conspiracy theories and people that are upset about this because it appears as though this has been a long-standing policy in high echelons of our society to protect these people. These people who are, by the way, or felt like they would never get convicted. Almost as if every time a new person came into the ring, Epstein's ring, they felt further emboldened to do it. They're like, well, if this guy's in it, then I'm definitely not going to ever go to prison. Oh, if this guy's in it, all these people are there. Oh, well, why not? You know? Why not? Because I don't know if it speaks to wealth and perversions when it comes to wealthy people, or it speaks to a mental health issue with pedophilia or sexual assaults and rape. Uh, we've looked at, people that murder people, and we identify them as psychopaths and other quantifiable things that kind of give us an answer for why they do the things they do. Rape, sexual assault, all these things are a little bit different. They don't have the clearest answers, and unfortunately, it's a wide spectrum of people who do abuse. So I can't really speak to any one of these people that did this, that was part of this ring with Epstein, other than to say they all felt emboldened on each other. And why this wasn't released, why it's not being released yet, why it took, them all the way until the very, evening, afternoon of the 19th. I know why. It's not surprising to me. Here I want to point out something else today, which I found so absolutely revealing. We talk about Trump all the time. Most people here, you all know how Trump actually acts on a day-by-day basis, right? This is something that happened today, apparently. Obviously, this is CBS, so please take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to say that this is, the actual facts and that there isn't any way for you to dispute this. But this is what CBS is reporting that happened today while Trump was in a room full of people that were trying to lower pharmaceutical costs in this country. Mr. Trump did not take questions Friday at an event at the White House with 9 pharmaceutical companies who have agreed to lower some of their prices. I prefer not talking and asking questions only for the reason that this is a big announcement, Mr. Trump told reporters. I really don't want to soil it up by asking questions, even questions that are very fair questions that I would love to answer. So I think we just have to stop right here. I don't want to be asking questions having to do with anything else. He had an opportunity today. Obviously, he scheduled this pharmaceutical meeting. He didn't have to do that. He could have scheduled that yesterday. He's obviously talking about Venezuela and all these other things to try to distract people from actually focusing on the big news of today, the Epstein files. He could have said something related to this, because he sure in the hell did leading up to the election, knowing all too well that being president is going to protect him from basically anything. So it's just so disheartening and yet not surprising. Nothing about this is surprising. That's the reality that we live in. I'm not, we've all been desensitized by social media. We've all been desensitized by politics. We've all been desensitized by mainstream media. We've all been desensitized by violence. And we are still the lucky ones in America. Yes, I see all your comments, Harold. I am live here. Obviously, I see it. I just wanted to get that spiel out of the way, and I saw that you were commenting the whole entire time. I appreciate your engagement. All we're doing today is going to go over the files, if they're released, when they're released. I didn't want this to be an all-day thing, but it might turn out to be an all-day thing at this rate. I'm going to put some music on the background because I will sometimes take a break and the music does fill that up pretty well for everybody to just to kind of like settle in and to yeah. Let me make sure that's not too loud. I'm sure that's really loud, or you know. I'll check the levels here. We'll go down a little bit more. So I'm gonna go and search for if these files have been made public yet. Apparently CBS was reporting that 3 p.m. was the expected time to when they were going to release these files, and that didn't happen. We're now an hour and 15 minutes past that deadline. They have until midnight, technically, before it's actually against the legislation's vote to release them, and President Trump obviously signing them. So it's not like they have to release them right now. They can wait, and they might just wait. So let me refresh this and see if anything's been updated. I do expect that unfortunately some of this will crash because I'm not the only one covering this information today. There's going to be a lot of people, but then again, maybe a lot less people, right? Because everybody's kind of locked into their holidays. So who really has time when they can maybe potentially look at this after the fact, or just kind of like ignore things like we often do in America. Justice Department says reasonable efforts have been made to shield survivors' personal information. Okay, here we go. In addition to documents released under the Epstein transfer, the full library includes court documents, but where is it? The Justice Department also warned the public that some contents in it will include descriptions of sexual assault as such. Here we go. We did get them. It happened 12 minutes ago. And it's through this area. I'm just going to download everything. They're not that large comparatively. There's quite a bit of treasure trove here. I got an error, obviously. How many did I get? I got 3. I didn't get the 4th. The 4th is not allowing me to do it. I'm going to refresh the... Well, I don't want to refresh it yet. I got to wait for the downloads to happen. Here, I'm going to show you the file here is up. I just can't get access to the last one, apparently. The access is denied. I'm not sure what that's all about. So I guess we'll just... Okay, maybe we'll be able to get it from here. Okay, we got it from there, at least. Alright, so it looks like we have access to all of the repository. Let me just look at this CBS headline and see what they've broken it down. The release of files broken up to 4, which CBS News is now reviewing. They can be found here. The website hosted contains a private top and view. That said, because of the volume of information, the website may nevertheless contain information that inadvertently includes non-public, personally identified information or other sensitive, and to include matters of sexual nature. The Justice Department also warned the public and the Epstein include description of sexual assault. As such, please revise that certain portion of this library may not be appropriate for all readers. In addition to the documents released under the Epstein files, transfers to the file includes court record made, materials used. Okay. All right, so let's close everything else down. We don't really need any of this. And let's start opening some of these up. All right, let's just go with the first one. Volume 1. So they have it in images and in data initially. I guess we're going to check the images. Now, listen, here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to scan these really quick off the screen they were supposed to do their due diligence and not releasing anything that was sexual in nature or that identified victims. And I'm just gonna do a cursory search of this just to make sure. It's all PDF though, so it's individual. I can't do that. And there are, in this first data set, I'll show you this right now. There are over 1,000 pictures in that first data set. There's over, okay, so this is broken down between each. So it's 1,000 per pool to 4,000, to 31. So there's 3,158 total of these. And apparently these are all hand, these were all hand inspected to ensure that nothing was overtly graphic or revealing. There's this data here. I'm not sure how that's a DAT file. What's a DAT file? What are these files and how do you access them? Doesn't even suggest that they're that big. Are the images what is considered information here? I'm just gonna look at each one real quick just to see. I'm not sure how to reconcile the natives. This is an actual video. This is pathetic. I don't know who this individual is, but I'm sure somebody will do investigative reporting on that. But that's literally only one video there. That can't be all the videos, even the ones that are protected. There's more videos here, and it does actually culminate the other from the previous record up for 3857, a different pool of images. They really wanted to. How do you get access to this? What opens those? How do you open a DAT file? .dat file reader. How do I open a reverse engineer? And is a generic extension which usually is structured binary, but often Notepad apparently opens a DAT file. Really? Open Notepad. What is this? These are references to something. So are you telling me that the only way to access those would be through, I'm assuming, CBS, Epstein. So maybe the only way to access those files specifically is to actually go through each one. But then these are listed in a different category. That's dataset 3. Item was not scanned. Again, these are images. Okay, here's what we'll do. I'm not really sure how to find files and names and stuff like that. That doesn't seem like it's something that is done, although probably not easy to do any of this technically. It's a tedious responsibility. But then again, it was a promise made by the president a while ago, for them not having it. is really, it shouldn't be an issue. But then again, it kind of is. Let me just look at this last one and see if we can find something. Open with, and just open. Oh, you know what it might be? I didn't extract them. Let me extract them to browse. Let me go to documents for this. Select folder. Sure. We'll go to that folder. That's probably the reason. And maybe now I can find it. No, it's still the same basic issue. So there's 8,000. Are these each? This is evidence of a book. Baby massage routine. Here's where I run into an issue. So this was like something that they disseminated? Just kidding. Actually having any of these ingredients on hand may indeed improve your chance of experiencing the ultimate. Following are the three things: the right intention, spontaneity, and sensitivity. I'm not reading all that. Don't really care. That's not really the point of this. I'm not trying to So these were kind of handed out to people doing massage for a living. I'm assuming these were kind of handed out to people that Epstein was familiar with, just to kind of have a baseline for their interactions. Acupuncture doc. I'm not even sure if this is from some other place, and this is just something they included. Therapeutic is growing in popularity outside the U.S., perhaps even faster than it is inside, as many people around the world come to see the value of alternative therapies. So this is heavily on massages, which I do believe was something that Jeffrey Epstein was familiar with. He liked massages. So maybe that's why this is part of the evidence. I guess I don't know where the scroll is. Okay, so this is a longer document. I'm just gonna get to the end here. Okay, there is more stuff going in here. For dummies. Spa Wish. Message for dummies. This is the appendices. We want to hear from you. Includes hands-on photos. Massage for dummies. So they thought to include this as material evidence for him because of his fascination with massages. Yeah, only parts have been released, Harold. But there are, I guess, I guess it's gonna take a large effort to figure out which ones are new and which ones are technically old. And apparently they all come in these picture formats. There's no actual, like, it's not a searchable database. I'll tell you that. It's not a searchable database. And the things that I'm looking at now are not, these are material evidences, which is obviously going to be something that you're going to need for when you're building a case. So having to release everything would include something like this, but okay, sure. Yeah, let's keep on just talking about massages on each one of these documents. I'm not looking into that. Item was not scanned. Description: Victoria's Secret bra. Just evidence. An invitation to poetry. What is this? What is this? Why are we taking pictures of books? Why would this be evidentiary in any way, shape, or form? In the Circuit Court of the Fifth Judicial in Palm City, Florida. And first of all, this is not hundreds of thousands of documents, by the way, so far. Redacted information from the actual judges. Why would that be protected? Are those just naturally protected by law, by state statute? I don't even know. I'm unfamiliar. 16 CDs. Okay, so we obviously can't see these because potentially they could be there could be a lot of things in these things. So you'd have to go through each one. But this is a repository. This is good for potential validation of evidence keeping, though. You can try to find those in the case of anything further. Negative results. Again, another CD, just in general. It's a bunch of non sequitur Maxwell. I'm telling you right now, this is very early on, but if they don't produce anything, here's my problem. Don't show us any of that stuff. I'm not like, in the end, technically having these exist in somewhere is good to know, just in case anybody that were to bring charges to somebody would have this to rely on for evidentiary reasons in a closed court case, because these people have to, unfortunately, see these things at times. But so far, this is just like absolutely nothing. 3 more. Sure. We'll see. Well, based on this, yeah, I mean, he won't have 3 years to go. He'll have 7 years to go. Actually, he'll just be king at this rate. I don't know what kind of evidence this was supposed to be. I'm not even sure if I'm looking in the right place. I'll obviously check out the any of the investigative reporters and see what they've compiled, but so far it's definitely interesting decisions to have in this particular file. This may be the worst of it. I started at the end. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Micro tapes. There's a lot of this evidentiary stuff. 7965. It's not all perfectly numbered, by the way, either. Agents' names. I can understand that. That's it. Just a header. They didn't want to add anything else to this? So let me ask you this. Never mind. I guess that would the Crimes Against Children Unit. This was in 2011. Has this already been reported? So you could potentially search here for any names. Federal Bureau of Miami is assisting the Palm Beach, along with associates. Epstein is believed to have manipulated underage girls from local high schools to perform massages and sexual acts at his residence. The victims were usually recruited by other underage females, and after performing various acts, were paid sums of money. In the 200,000 investigation, identified, named, married, born, and a victim of a sex crime. She is not considered a subject, nor is she facing charges in investigation described below. Observe Epstein have sexual intercourse with. This was in 2008. She was a victim of a crime. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't convicted until 2019. These were reports in 2008, 2011. I think this was probably part of the sweetheart deal, but maybe not. So no legal, all those people have been redacted. This is the kind of information you do want. Admittedly, this is the kind of information that you would expect. So this is Sydney. Violent crime is referenced. Serial Miami provided interviews, subjects range. If you, this was in 2011. Sydney sub office. Unclassified. Remember, and this is a very important I can't say the word. This is an important distinction. The release of these were supposed to generate an Epstein list. People, what's false AI trash, Dennis? What's false AI trash, Dennis? Tell me. Oh, my computer locked down. Nice. Hold on 1 second. What's false AI trash, my friend? What the? Whole thing's been redacted, huh? Nice. See, this is the issue we're gonna have to deal with the fact that, like, why is this? Are these pictures? I'm not familiar with how this works, so we command that trust all singularity. It should say what this is. This whole entire thing was redacted. But it should say what the contents of this was, at least. This was in Queens. I'm assuming this was a picture of the I don't get this. I don't get that. I don't understand that. That doesn't help nobody. I think this is how they used to, like, do their updates for some of their. I mean, obviously this is a file for a person. Photo request. This is all. This is photo potentially. Maybe more photos. They wanted more photos of something. I'm gonna make the assumption that these are photos. It may not be. A lot of stuff has been redacted, by the way. There's a lot of gaps in these documents, by the way. Huh. From disclosing the existence of a subpoena to any third party while you're under an obligation. Moreover, no context for what those are as well. Just literal blank pages. Public perception probably is not going to go over well. Puerto Rico, nothing filmed. Snapped at. Never anyone with him. Request for New York DMV photo image. There's got to be photos of minors there. It's something related to that. Don't care about all that. That's fine. Understandable. I'm assuming this is all identifiable information. That's why it's being redacted. But no testimonies. Like, you can still. Did they take that carte blanche attitude where, in order to protect the victims, you can't talk about any of the instances or the depositions? So these are specifically people that were, and yet their whole entire testimony is being redacted. I'm assuming that this is what this is. There could be information in here about different people, about conversations regarding different people in all of these things. I don't think this is specifically pictures. This looks like there's a picture here, which totally can be redacted. There's a name and client ID, totally can be redacted. All of this identifiable information totally can be redacted. Okay? There are instances here that can be redacted, but the act of deposition, the in-between stuff, the stuff that was supposed to be the heart of this Transparency Act, no. No. I believe that right there, all of these documents could have provided something of 2001 to 2002. So this is each of these people, and this is different. So instead of having, like, not everyone has the same filing system, right? So in this case, this is how this investigator filed this, instead of a photo with the date of birth with the name and then all this other information. This has to be a deposition. This has to be a deposition, and it's all being redacted. Insane. That ain't gonna provide any information to anybody. Embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. There is information here that could have applied to certain people that still could have protected the victims and actually named names, which is what this whole thing was for. And Bondi said that they compiled this information. She had, like, what, thousands of names or whatever. Tipster submitted the following: was a big part of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. The FBI mistakenly gathered information about her because stole her driver's license, and maybe a victim. She may be a victim, or she may be a criminal. Has a lot of evidence, but she denies it. Okay, so we finally get something that would have been indicative of these other ones that have been redacted. And then everything else is grayed out. What an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. This part here would have been extremely important. These would have been actual people that could have named names and talked about people. All redacted. Who is this? Where do you see that? You see that name somewhere? Every identifiable information has been redacted here. This is an absolute. So they're playing games, okay? Have they released some Epstein files? Yes, that wasn't the heart of the law. The heart of the law was to release everything. Obviously, you have to redact some things, but this these are logs, okay? Date of births have been omitted. Wait a minute. So this is specific to one person? No. The assumption is this is all the same person? 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014, 2015. These flight logs are very important. Status, on board, on board. You're saying that all these people are victims. You're saying that all these people are the underage victims and not Bill Clinton, not Bill Gates, not Donald Trump. Okay. Video interview. Attorney-client privilege. All redacted. It was a joke. FedEx. Delivered to. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. What agent was assigned to refresh eye drops? So I'm assuming these are all flight dates and stuff like that, going in and out of the island, or it was titled Eye Drops, by the way. Attendance list would have been nice. Attorney, what is that? Dershowitz? Why is this? Why is this blocked out? So they're playing fast and loose, my friend. They're playing fast and loose. They're playing fast and loose, my friend. Palm Springs. Like I said, they could be suggesting that all these people who are being named as co-conspirators are considered victims because Epstein set them up. I think that might be their that might have been their mandate. And why they're treated as victims when that's not the heart of the law. In 2020, I think this is the individual that came public and said that he was taken advantage of by Epstein as well. Are these hidden cameras? I have no idea. Maybe this is just forensic stuff. 100,000 documents. This ain't 100,000 documents. There's no way. Okay, we have something here. David Copperfield was already reported as someone that was loosely connected to Jeffrey Epstein. The reality is they have this information. They should come out with what is pertinent and what isn't pertinent as well. Are we going to get his David Copperfield? That's it? He was booked. So that's why, which, you know, he was a magician. So I guess it's not like incriminated to the extent that you could actually discern anything from that. What's that? What did you nail, Linda? Are they saying only 10% has been released? Okay, interesting. This was in, where's the relative date? Is this 2019? I don't see the date. 1996. They had this information and on 1996. Oh, nice. Just about with a redacted. Holy crap. This is maybe the biggest we ever had. This is the largest. Do we get any context here? Any context at all? Obviously, I don't want pictures. I don't want things that reveal things. But you're telling me there's no context here. There's nothing. You can't even have Jeffrey Epstein be revealed in these pictures. This is fucking a shame. This is shameful, dude. You just gave us a complete document all redacted. And this is how you comply with the law? Pathetic. 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 The only good news is that, I mean, this is not even, you probably can get away from it. The fact that this has a number and associated something with it, so if people that have the authority that might need to, they can look at this stuff as self-referential for the security and sanctity of these files. But so you're just gonna play games, huh? You're just gonna try to say that this is technically a release of information. You're saying that these 3 documents, how many pages is that? 60? There wasn't any context in between this. These are pictures. I don't believe these are just pictures. I do not believe they're pictures. Sorry, I don't. Shameful. The fix is in, boys. The fix is in. The fix is in. The fix is in. Hold on one second. Just gotta respond to this. Got her and cannot do facials. I'm so disheartened. I might just switch it over to the other files because I'm not even folder empty. That ain't good. That ain't good. That ain't good. That ain't good. Number called would be nice. Number called would be nice. Attorney? What about this? What about this phone call right here? What about this phone call right here? What about all these phone calls right here? What about this phone call right here? The ones that are not female. A lot of female calls. Sorry. This is not very tantalizing stuff. I hate to tell you. Getting met with redactions and stonewalling is not fun. I wonder if the investigative reporters are having the same issue. There's a lot of call logs here, and there's a lot of females here. And numbers called, like, obviously this is just getting records from phones. How many of these people actually have their same phone number from then to connect that? I don't know. And these span what? 2006? So this was something relevant during those times. Probably corroborating some evidence between whatever the women's testimony was to call logs and stuff like that. So we got more call logs from a different time. This little package has been a nothing burger. Do not destroy. Open and inspected. Caller ID. So you would have the caller ID here. You would know who it is. This is how you know that they're not doing this in the spirit the law entailed. Because not all of these are female. Not all of these are attorney-client privilege, even if that does exist for Jeffrey Epstein. Let's just say it does. There's an ability to name some names here. And they just totally redacted everything, just like they totally redacted all those other documents we looked at. It's a cover-up. It's taken it as these are considered victims as well. In the heart of the law. There's no way these releases are going to be met as satisfactory at all. Now, what can be done? Probably nothing. That's the reality we live in. These have caller ID, though. All these have caller ID. 23 minutes, 23 minutes. All these have caller ID. Every one of these. And it's not, I mean, like guilty by association. We get it. That's not the spirit of this. The spirit of this is because it's been so long that it went on. There needs to be transparency. And this is not very, that's not transparent at all. Not transparent at all. Not one freaking bit. Imagine if any of those are Trump calling Jeffrey Epstein multiple times. And then being redacted makes it worse. They're not all victims. There's no way they're all victims. And probably a lot of them are not even pertinent. But back in this day, phone calls were the only way to communicate in many cases. Yeah, internet existed. But you called people. You didn't text them. This is them calling to confirm Metro PC. Approximately 6 months. The data is retained, so they could have compiled a lot of information. A minor. And let's be very clear. All it would take is just one of these victims. One minor. Doesn't require more than one. Okay, what is this? This is probably the most substantial thing that we've had. I'm not even sure. This is part of the grand jury, it looks like. Under seal. Audio tape inventory. So they read that. Here is the call breakdown I used for the chart. This is, I'm going to double check. Calls to redacted. Domestic records. Okay, here's some call logs. This could be the meat and potatoes. Early this week or the following week, possibly you'd like to meet. She is Karen Models Bank, who will issue a line of credit secured by the lock or LLC. Name reservations to film. Was this in reference to Copperfield? Room and board, it looks like. Delta Airlines. Potential relatives. Don't really care about all that. U.S. Air Bill. Hilton. Notes. Email Secretary Director. Certified mail. Photo, Bloom. Photos from desk. Floppy disks. A paralegal. Informed from this SA advisor she had just been notified that Jeffrey's private plane Baron toll number was due to take off from St. Within the next 5 minutes, the writer advised he would take some photos to see if he could have the flight delayed while he responded to the airport. This was in 2007. Oh, they were supposed to release the stuff related to. Ooh, what's this? It's a larger file. Palm Beach incident. Just a database listing. Sign the affidavit. This was in 2005. You know, when was this? In 2005. And Jeffrey Epstein got the sweetheart deal when? Even with this information being filed. Deal. In 2007. So whoever's been following this would be able to look at something like potentially this disclosure and see if this information was present. 14-year-old daughter. And so we know that this has been a conspiracy. We know that this has been a cover-up. And who's the one that gave him the sweetheart deal? All of these things, right? All of these, even with this evidence, all of this pertinent stuff, he was given a sweetheart deal. And we can't even see all the information, nor do we want to. Yeah, and this is all just gonna go over explicit stuff, which I don't want to read, and I'm not going to read. Again, she did that again. These were all the same incident leading up to the 2000 and 7-9 or 7 sweetheart deal. There's a lot here, but I doubt it has any reference, and I don't even think there's a way to control find. Would it be able to find anything? No, it's supposed to be a searchable document. Okay, you can find stuff here. Okay. All right, that's interesting. So many references to Epstein here. I guess this is how many people would find it. But I wouldn't anything with Donald, which you could also search for and just get rid of. See, I'm not sure if this has already been made public before, which again would be something that they would have to disclose in this as well, because it's the full list, so it's not, unheard of. But there are people who have been covering this that would know better than me as far as what the new stuff is, what is relevant comparatively. They may also have things that are not redacted that are now redacted, and kind of discern what the policy is over at the justice system to declare a victim, which I'm assuming maybe Donald Trump's a victim in this case. They might be attributing him to being a victim. Again, more calls redacted. I don't know if we've gone through all of this, but we've gone through quite a bit. More call logs, which doesn't provide much information. More call logs. I'm not interested. When it's all just redacted, or the numbers are redacted, which would be the pertinent information. All right, so we're going to go to the next one. We're going to go to the next slot. 2 videotapes. I'll open one more. All right, that's pretty much a joke. There is some stuff there. It's like right here, I guess, is the real meat and potatoes. I didn't put it there. Where did I put this? Hold on. Volume 3. Images. 1. Another one of these? Photos of luggage? Or, oh, like an exam table. I think we've seen some of this information already. Lineup information. So this wouldn't have been just him. It would have been also Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. So all this information, all this people would not have necessarily been connected to anything specific to this. Right? Redacted, a lot of redacted, probably. Photo line up. Interesting. I'll be right back. Let's go take a short little break. Cancel. Okay, I'm back. Photo frame redacted. Have we seen this already? Have we seen that already? So my question is this: if they're able to show photos of this, why weren't they able to show the other documents before? Of that whole cache that we saw before. Like they're just showing stuff now. They're at least showing the context of the thing. They weren't even doing that before. They had literally entire pages redacted, so you couldn't even get any context of what it was. You know, at least we have context of what this is. That's better. That is transparency. And we understand that the photos inside are protected because they are minors. We understand that these are all women and minors and all that. We get that. But we have context as to what that is. The other ones, we don't have context to what it is. It's literally pages and pages of redacted, which suggests. Who's this? Is this the prince? Who is this? Does anybody know who this is? I'm going to keep that up. That one actually might be the most relevant thing we found so far. That looks like Prince Edward's, or the former Prince Edward's, now that he's no longer got that title. Okay, well, this is just... Okay, I mean, they redacted it. I'm glad they did that. But again, so let me ask you this. We get that image, which was borderline, but we didn't get any of that other stuff that we looked at. It was all completely redacted. Something fishy there. Something extremely fishy there. And I would press them. I'd press that, whatever that item number is, and I would get somebody to do a special investigation as to why that wasn't provided more context for under this transparency law. Again, context. I understand you're going to do this because it's probably a really, revealing photo or whatever else. I appreciate that. But you didn't even provide context in the other documents. Twin torpedo. All right, so this is that, which is sexual, you know, sexual stuff. All right, this is a swath of photos. This is a swath of photos. Again, why didn't we have this context in that previous document? Why were the whole entire things redacted when we have this, at least for context? Like, this is what we had with those other documents. No context at all. But at least in this file, we can see some of what is contextual, which is totally fine. Like, I don't mind that this is redacted. This is fine. Could there be something in there that's obviously Trump or whatever else? Yes, that is an issue. But based on this is more transparent. This is something that you can actually see with your own eyes as being totally acceptable and why it was redacted. The other files, no. No, not at all. And you can tell if they're women or not just by some of their portraits. You would like to see who this person is, wouldn't you? You'd like to see who this person is, wouldn't you? Wouldn't this be pertinent to see who this person is? Is this person been convicted of a crime? Okay, so that's another thing we're going to reference. How do I open up? Can I duplicate this? We're just going to reference certain things that I find convenient. I don't know. This is suggestive. Could be something. May not be an actual person, a girl. All right, so that's it for miscellaneous photos. So these two, I think, do have relevancy, whoever this person is. And if this is a protected victim and they're that close, it seems pretty incriminating to me. All right, let's see. These are really fast photos. Okay, so these are specifically probably, unfortunately, some very now the question is, okay, but here's the question. Are there actual, like, so there's, looks like somebody's there. Maybe this is Maxwell. Or could this be photos of them? It looks like it's all in the same basic area. So it's just one swath of photos. Obviously, these guys are kissing. Again, separate photos here. There's no date on these photos, right? Well, we do know when they were taken, like, generally speaking. What's going on here? Oh, okay. This is just a lineup again, just to identify who is actually Epstein. And these girls did identify him, and he still got a sweetheart deal. And again, we're only looking at things that are evidently, you know, connected to Epstein. So, you know, that's going to limit some of the possibility for individuals to be kind of wrapped up into this, other than the fact that we know that there are, we know that there are affiliations with Trump, Clinton, Dershowitz, Bill Gates, apparently. We've seen this. This is a repeated thing. So they repeated some of these documents, by the way. I don't know if they did that on purpose or by accident. CDs, which probably contain the worst kind of things you could possibly imagine, I'm assuming. Sophomore. 2 different high schools in 2 years. They're trying to incriminate her by stating these things. This was in 2019, by the way. Introduced to Epstein through she traveled with him. She moved back to the city after I met. How big is this document? Control find. We can't find it. Yeah, so this is not a searchable document. So they are making sure that they do identify all the people that are potentially the victim or but they are going out of their way Okay, here we go. What is this? With Jeffrey Epstein, when I tried to open up to her about my assaults, she did not relate. A bit standoffish. She wasn't very friendly. His assistant, plane, departure, scheduling, all went through her and Ghislaine. More than 1 year before I was 18 with Jeffrey Epstein. Older than I was. Guess that she's 5 years old. I don't remember if I talked about my age. Touched me during both. Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine. Those were the people I saw the most. There were other people. There are 2 people that are being redacted here. That may not be victims, by the way. They could literally be Donald Trump. It could be BG. It could be DT. There are a lot of different people. My age. Some come and some stay for days. Remember seeing girls here in apartments. No idea. We all stayed together, no routine. Jeffrey always woke up early and had his coffee. Ghislaine Maxwell. They weren't hanging out with me. Gathered outside very leisurely. People would come to the island. Jean, Luke, Naomi Campbell, older people. Jean-Luc Picard? Wait, Jean-Luc Picard. No, that's not it. That would be... Who's Jean-Luc? Jean-Luc is who? Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell was the model, right? And Jean-Luc, who is what? Jean-Luc Picard is the captain, but Jean-Luc the person um Jean-Luc celebrity. Is it the chef? It's not. That's definitely not him. Who would be Jean-Luc? I understand one of works or owns model agencies, very eccentric, small. He traveled with us. So this is name and names, name and interests. Ghislaine and see, this proves that some of these people are being protected. This proves that some of these names are being protected. From Italy, friend of his. Me, Epstein. There's a lot of people here that are being protected, by the way. I'm just going to let you know that. And he got a sweetheart deal. This was in 2019, actually. So this was just before he got convicted. Her and Maxwell. So this is part of that case. I'm assuming. And I'm not even sure if this has already been revealed. Okay, so we actually do get photos. Do you think these are women? Do you think these are women? Do you think that's a woman? Who is this? Is this Jean-Luc? Which they've named, by the way. Okay, so the other people were girls, but this is not a girl. This is a guy. Or is that Maxwell? It's hard to tell, right? You can't really see the picture. And let me just say this. Obviously, this was just a broad. Obviously. This wasn't on the island per se, so there's definitely not. This, however, is not. This is not even close to being. This is not even close to being appropriate. I don't know why they would. I don't even. Why? I don't. I'm not going to go over it back over again, but I don't understand why that other one that we looked at was completely redacted the way it was. Again, this guy again. Showing similar photos of the previous ones, so this is just negatives, and I don't care about all that. Cool. I'm trying to go over it as quickly as possible. Some of this stuff is extremely suggestive, and I don't want or need to look at it. I'm just looking for any figures that are not women, that are men. Hello? Who's this? That's not a woman. Is that a woman? Obviously covering the identifiable tattoo potentially. I guess it could be an underage man. He didn't want Spanish or dark girls. So these are more photos. Let's see a guy in that photo. Oh, these were back and front. These were in. Is there a date on this? I don't think so. Yeah, 2004 was the date on those. Yeah, okay. That's that. USB of photos for evidentiary reasons. Photos of interior. Whiteout photos. Weird whiteout photos. Okay. I mean, we don't need to be seeing that. Why? I don't understand this. Why would you black out the other documents in that other sloth of things when you are literally willing to reveal that? That doesn't make no sense. Why would you even show me half of that? That's the stuff you should be blacking out. Black out that stuff. But I don't understand why you blacked out the other stuff. I really don't. I'm kind of confused. Really confused. You're telling me this was a girl? You're telling me this was a girl? You're telling me that was a girl? Right there. This is a girl? This is a girl? These two are girls? Highly doubt it. Duplicate. Okay, we don't need to see Maxwell anything. Come on. We actually get to see the contents, whereas before we didn't get to see any of this in the other one. And so far, what I've seen as the precedent is that if they're not technically Epstein or Maxwell, even if they're not underage girls, then they basically censor them as well. There's a lot of people here. You see all these old men? Where was this at? This doesn't actually have anything, but there's a bunch of old men here. With potentially young girls on the stage. It's hard to discern. Who's this person? Same person as this person? Who's that person? Do we know? Duplicate. That's that swath. I'm assuming these are all just horrible. I'm assuming these are probably the worst of the worst. Is that Epstein? Patchy. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to see those, obviously, if there's anything even remotely suggestive. And I do see that these, you know, I can understand why these been redacted. They're literally of him and another person, and most likely a victim. This is like literally in back of a photo shoot, like backdrop. Insane. Multiple women, by the way. Multiple women. Multiple women. Who's this person? Does not look like Epstein. I don't know what to think of that one. Any one of these could be incriminated to somebody, and they decided to redact it. And Trump is so iconic that any bit of him in an image could tip it off. His look is very distinct. I don't know who these people are, but there's definitely more people here. That does look like Bill Clinton, but it's hard to tell. This was obviously abroad, so could have just been a meeting somewhere else. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. I just don't. I don't want to see anything more, but we've seen other things that are more suggestive. So I wonder what the discretion is to completely. Wait, are we redacting? Okay, I'm assuming. I wonder if there's names here though, not victims' names, somebody else's names. Hawaii. Do we assume that this is a girl and not a guy? Why would you redact a tree? This is the woman. Why would you redact the tree? I might have that as reference. This is another person. All right, let's duplicate. Does that look like a woman to you? Does this look like a woman to you? Let's duplicate. Ooh. Who are these people? Boy, these photos suck. Is this Hawkins? Duplicate. That looks like a fisherman. Definitely looks like Bill Clinton. Duplicate. Does this look like a girl to you? Actually, it is a girl. Potentially. I'm so confused. Looks like it's like at a dignitary or something. I don't know who this is. Well, we've been doing this for everyone, so we might as well continue the trend. Met the Dalai Lama? The Dalai Lama in Thailand? I don't think so. Some of this stuff I'm just not certain. It's not there to protect somebody else. It's so hard to discern though. Does that look like a girl to you? In St. Petersburg? Does that look like a girl to you? It's so hard to tell though. It is it is winter, so I guess they could be wearing a huge coat. What is a VS show? Copenhagen. A lot of these are duplicates. So these are classified as nudes, by the way. I mean, for my purposes, and I know there's going to be more people that are going to go through this. I want to kind of, well, this is Bill, clear as day. They even they do reference Clinton in this case. Which is pertinent, by the way. Who's this guy? Why would they cover up this guy? So they don't cover up Clinton, but they cover up everybody else in these photos? The assertion is, okay, Clinton's here, of course, right? Okay. But if Clinton, which, I would agree, is guilty, then why isn't this person susceptible to the same disclosures? And if you're going to redact everything. I'm glad you didn't redact Clinton, but at the same time, like I don't understand how he's obviously posing with Maxwell, and there could be relevancy here. So this one is Jean-Luc Joro. So they're basically picking and choosing, man. They're picking and choosing, it seems. Seems very selective. Picking and choosing the ones they want to profile completely. Because that was a lot of Clinton. That was a lot of Clinton. This has got to be that Jean-Luc guy. Got to be a lot of Clinton. Picking and choosing, aren't they? Picking and choosing. Not listed as anything specifically. I'm just gonna go faster. Sotheby's auction. Mm. Is this Steve Bannon? Photos are so hard to tell. I don't know who that is. Jean-Luc. Lastly, okay. This is potentially more Jean-Luc. Boy, these photos are so tiny. Don't know who those people are. This one person keeps on coming back as well. That same individual. Does not look like a girl. That does not look like a... I don't know, man. I don't know. That same guy. Maxwell. Wedden Tucker, North Salem. Modeling agencies. What you really wanted the testimonials from these women that talk about potentially other people as well. But that's only assuming the investigators did their due diligence and trying to bring other people down as well that participated in this. But maybe they didn't. That don't look like a girl. That don't look like no girl. That don't look like no girl. Why are we protecting that person? Who's that person? Obviously with a girl. Would be nice to see that face. This whole entire thing, this whole rigmarole right there is kind of sus. There's a person there in between that and the other. Can't make that out though. These pictures suck. Carnival. Hmm. Boy, these pictures are so bad. They're so small. That is Jeffrey Epstein. What the fuck is this? You're protecting whoever this is, clearly. You're protecting whoever this is, clearly. You're protecting whoever this is, clearly. That might be the most glaring one to exist. That's with somebody, by the way. That's with somebody, by the way. You're protecting this person, clearly. That's not a woman. Maybe it's a woman. Maybe these people are women. That's why we're saving them, just in case. We'll go look back at it to make sure. It's hard to see, so I'll have to do some additional investigative work to actually... Again, this all should be taken care of by the DOJ, but they can't even be, they can't even be bothered. This is a girl? You're telling me this is a girl? You're telling me this is a girl? Okay. Okay, DOJ. Okay, actually, that makes it... It might be a girl. Could be a victim. You telling me this is a girl? Wearing cargo shorts? Sketchy. Okay, so that was Jeffrey with somebody else. That's what that was. That ain't Jeffrey, though. And that's a guy. That ain't Jeffrey, and that's a guy. That's a guy right there. And that ain't Jeffrey either. Horseback riding. You saying this is Jeffrey? You saying this is Jeffrey? I don't believe you. This is a different area. This is not, this is like at a horse race area. Like these kind of things you can't. But when you put somebody close to a girl, you can make a little bit more assumptions. Oh my God. Mickey Mouse? You think that's a girl right there? Who's that? Is that Jeffrey? Why are they blocking Jeffrey for? Some of this shit don't make no sense. Some of it don't add up. They're playing freaking coy. This whole page right here. Sus as fuck. Sus as... Is that a girl? Or is that Donald? Why are they not showing, it looks like they have nails, though. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. This fucking picture sucks ass. That's a girl? Why would they just... Can it be? I know nobody else. Trump? Could be names there, you don't even know. Could be names right there, you don't even know. You're fired. Trump's love to say it. He doesn't like to hear it. That's true. That's why I put it down there, Fart Man. That's why I did it. I did it to bait him. Alright. I'll duplicate this as well. All of that. These little dinners, though. These little dinners, let me tell you. Everything about that, I'll have to remember that. Okay, not obviously that. These are just women. So unfortunate, man. They should have just fucking done what they were supposed to do and actually incriminate these people instead of us having to fucking go through it. So annoying. All right, I'll keep this one open as well because I want to make sure that I... I don't know about that. This is a shorter one. Doesn't look like there is anything that... We're almost done with the third one. I think this is the third one. Oh, this is a larger one. Brazil, miscellaneous, Cronkite. Does that look like a girl to you? Does that look like a girl to you? Does this look like a girl to you? Mm, 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 mm. It's a larger photo with a bunch of people. It's hard to even put out. It's hard to tell a silhouette based on those images alone. This one's quite a larger file, though. Ain't nobody want to fucking see that, dude. Why would you... I just don't understand about the fourth disc and why they redacted so much of that. And I think that was testimonials, which is something we'd want to see, by the way. We'd want to see testimonials. Name names. And them allowing them to do it in batches means that they could literally put out whatever is convenient for them. And then if there's actually legitimate stuff that can come out later, people would be like, "Well, there's nothing in the first batch, so there's probably not going to be anything ever," and get discouraged. That's why it was supposed to all be revealed at the same time. I don't know who that is. Apparently Cronkite, Walter Cronkite. I believe it. Okay, that was quite the swath. Make sure I get the right one. This one's pretty big as well. This one doesn't even have any. Looks like they're at a winter. They're both, all three of these are women? Hmm. Show me where they're not, and we'll have a problem. Show me where one isn't, and we'll have a problem. Show me where there isn't. That's a woman? That's a woman? I don't believe it. Prove it. Somebody needs to go in there and check DSC07225 and see if it's a woman. Apparently, it's the same image as this. It's hard to tell. They're in winter jackets, but it's not the same image. It's different. It's a different jacket entirely. And it's up close, too, so you'd be able to tell who it is. Who are you protecting, DOJ? We already know. Oh my god, this is fucking horrible. Oh! Bingo! 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 There's a fucking tie. And there's another guy right next to him. Most likely. Who are you protecting? So you wanted to like go out with the highlights. Cronkite, Clinton, yes, okay. But you don't want to say who else. I get it. You're picking and choosing winners and losers. Makes perfect fucking sense, dude. Makes perfect sense. The good news is these are here. We can look at these, and then somebody who has the authority can go and check those without the redactions and verify. And see if these are people. Are men of legal age who would be. If you're going to reveal Clinton, if you're going to reveal Cronkite, be able to be identified. They're in close proximity to a man that they should have known because he was convicted with a sweetheart deal. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell if that's a woman or a man. Wait, wait. You're saying that all of these are women? No, I don't believe it. Because where's Epstein? Epstein should be one of these. Something ain't adding up in this one, let me tell you. Something ain't adding up in this one. Something ain't adding up in this one, sir. That's a woman? Doubtful. Does that look like a woman to you? This look like a woman to you? No. Oh boy. So we're gonna do Cronkite. We're gonna do these people. Yeah, they could be the range personnel. I get it. Protect them people. Sure, maybe, possibly. I'm not dumb. I understand that. I do understand that. I truly do understand that. Danny Hillis. So there's more names. There's more names being named. They want you. These motherfuckers, how stupid do they think we are? Why is this guy being protected? He's got a fucking tie on. Can't you see it in that fucking picture? Why are you redacting that person's face? Huh? Why are you redacting that person's face? This guy's got a tie on. Just proves. It just fucking proves, dude. It just fucking proves. The cover up is real. 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 Another Clinton image. I think that's Clinton, or this could be that Danny Celis guy. Nope, it is Clinton again. Again, to not think that Trump wouldn't be in these, go fuck yourself, dude. Ain't no damn fucking way. Yes, Clinton is all over here. We knew that. Put him away. Lock him up. But you're picking winners and losers. We've already seen that by some of the choices that you made with the redactions. Who is this? Not named here. That's somebody, though, but not named. More Clinton. They've definitely made it. They've made sure that they put Clinton all over here. They wanted to ensure that that was definitely the case. With women. With women specifically. You would think. You would think there would be an equal amount of other people too, but apparently not. Who is this? Lead in with Clinton. So you're going to release the files, make it a hit piece on Clinton, act like Trump is not even involved at all in these. No. No, I do not believe that. I do not believe that at all. Is that Michael Jackson? Sorry, ain't nobody gonna believe that either, by the way. We're supposed to think that's a girl? It could be. It's hard to tell. Boy, they made sure to include Clinton. They made sure to include Clinton. And just so you know, we have photos of him with Trump at a party. We don't know what date that is, but I'll be honest with you. If there's no Trump in here at all, we know that there should be. It's a red flag, my friend. It's a red flag. It's a red fucking flag, my friend. And they're all numbered, by the way, too, which is good. I mean, the investigators did a lot of work. You know, clearly they did care about these people, these victims back then. They definitely put the work in. CSAM. Which is the designation for, you know. Again, we didn't even get this for that fourth thing. Like, that fourth thing is so suspicious, man. Because it's so redacted. That's going to be part of my preliminary video either. Bro, that ain't a girl, bro. That ain't a girl, bro. He's got a fucking watch on. You fucking idiots. You fucking political idiots. I doubt that's a girl. Very convenient for you to put a hit piece out. Very convenient. Very convenient. And if you really wanted to, and I haven't even checked this, how many of these things are missing too in this particular area? You could do the research on that. I hope somebody actually does that. They can look at all these and see which files are missing comparatively, which chunks are missing. Because you have the Clinton in here, you have the Cronkites in here. This is a birthday. Another Clinton. I don't need to see this. I just don't understand the context of why these are like this and the fourth one has complete redactions throughout the whole fucking page. It's so suspicious. Because if you're willing to show this for these big images, you should be able to do the same for the other, but you didn't. And there's a reason why you didn't. Okay. It's a birthday. There was probably something in there that was somewhat relevant. All right, we're in the last few of these. Is that Jeffrey back there? We'll go through these bigger ones quick. I don't want to focus on anyone other than if there is a silhouette of a guy in the background. Then unfortunately I will. You wonder sometimes with these completely redacted ones, because they're willing to show some things for context and then not others. This is just fucking weird. I don't even know what this is, but this is just a weird one. It's like a collage. Negatives. See Sam. Just make sure I don't delete that other one. These are all women. And then, like I said, here's the good news. We have file numbers, so they can go back and see who this person is. And why was it redacted? Oh, it was a mistake. We just had to redact so many that we made a mistake, and it wasn't supposed to be redacted. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Photo lineups, residents. The legal minds will have to, talk about this because I don't know. Oh, here we go. So this is the Maxwell one, the indictment on Maxwell. There's no testimonial here, so it's not going to provide too much. And then last, but certainly not least, is, again, all this fucking shit being fucking redacted is so fucking stupid. No context as to what this is or not. They released it, redacted, probably because Trump's name's all over it. Redacted, probably because Trump's name's all over it. Redacted. If you don't take concern with this, when we were able to see all those fucking photos, and it showed context of what those photos were without showing anything, which is great, and then you have this, my friends, that's a cover up. That's a cover up. I don't have enough time to go through the other two data sets. I'm assuming that most people probably started with the first two, so hopefully people we've already looked at that, I'm pretty sure. I've already went through the sloth. Let me just look here and see if there's anything different here. So these are pilots specifically. Let me just kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with here. Oh. Well, these are definitely more people. That's for sure. These are higher images, higher detailed images as well. This might be the meat and potatoes right here. Man, so many fucking photos of these people. It's crazy. Why take so many damn photos? Guys, like... So it's just better versions of what we'd already seen in those other books, all blown up for evidentiary reasons, I'm assuming. These are probably the same people that were obviously talked about. So I'm assuming there's going to be Clinton in here as well, just blown up for when they had to present it to the court. They would be able to show people specifically. So maybe we did get to see a breadth of stuff. Whoever that is, in whatever context that is, it's a weird photo. Okay, go back. Showed one of Bill with Maxwell. So I do think that this is like what was going to be used to present to the court, because they would have had to blow some of these up because a lot of them most likely were in that smaller format. All right, so yeah, there's definitely some loose connections with some people here. And then let's just get an idea of what the first one was all about. Or, yeah, this one. What is this one all about? There's a lot here as well. Single file. It's what they don't. Some of this stuff is quite redundant. Is that part of a safe? Some housing stuff. This is all evidentiary stuff. Ew. I think what we did see was probably the most relevant. And there were instances where I could point out and say, there's definitely some selected bias here as far as what you choose. All that grand jury stuff is annoying. That has all been done. There's obviously people here that are men that have a close-up that are not being revealed, that have no protections. There's this guy, which could be Epstein, but then again, why would you redact it? And then, oh yeah, I don't want to show that part of it. There's this guy right here. That was what I was trying to get at. This guy with the fucking tie. You know? So there's definitely some glaring omissions here as to who they chose to do. So I'm gonna use that as my next video to highlight some of the discrepancies about Clinton is being profiled in this exclusively. And that's fine. Lock him away. But if you are going to convince me that Donald J. Trump's not in these as well, having as many pictures as he does with Epstein that we've seen in various different areas, and he doesn't have a workup like Clinton does, I don't know. The fix is in. oh, they didn't want to release it to begin with, then they had to release it, and now they're going to try to take advantage of it to the best of their ability and try to still make it legit. But redacting people with ties, redacting people that look like they're men that have watches, that are men that have white shirts, maybe just selective redactions for people you want to save and for other people that you want to try to take down instead of it being transparent. My name is Plazukas. Thanks for watching. I will do a follow-up video offline. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.